This time I call the Budget Committee meeting to order and ask Angela to please call the roll.
Cole. Here. Hannum. Here. Lewis. Here. Mitchell.
Here.
Moon. Here. We have a quorum.
I now ask, if you will, to make the emergency announcement, please.
Before we get started, let me read the emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency evacuation, an alarm will sound. Everyone should exit the building by way of the nearest stairwell in a safe and effective manner. If the nearest stairwell is blocked by smoke, use the other stairwell. Do not use the elevator. Once you have reached the main floor, follow the exit signs to exit the building and quickly proceed away from the building. Please be mindful of others evacuating and of emergency vehicles.
Okay, I now ask if there's any input on items on the agenda. Seeing none, you have a copy of the minutes from the January 11th, 2016 included in your packet. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Move to accept.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? I'll ask for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Move on to the finance. E1A increases, general county, juvenile court, $1,300 is new revenue source due to new services offered for supplies, materials needed as a result of the new services. Do I hear a motion to get this on the floor? Make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Now I ask for any questions or discussion. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole. Yes. Hannum.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item E1B, General County Recovery Court, $20,643 for the new SAMHSA grant award.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion approved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or any questions concerning this? Yes. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have one question. Is that the monitoring devices, the satellite tracking devices, covered in this grant for 1 year or one grant cycle, or is this going to be replenished thereafter?
Amy, can you come up and answer any questions on this, please?
The satellite monitoring is separate from the SAMHSA grant. It's a separate.
It's the next item. I think it's the next item there.
Well, while you're up, go ahead and answer it for me so I won't have to ask again.
Can you? It doesn't involve the grant. What it is we have established a GPS monitoring for some of our participants. It's an alternative sanction to jail to be able to monitor them through a GPS. And so the revenue line and expenditure line that's set up it's kind of offset each other. The one revenue is where the money comes in from the participant to pay for the GPS, and the expense line is where that money goes back out. We keep 3 units on hand at all time. We currently have 3 on our participants at the time, and it's just another form that we use for knowing where they're at as an alternative to a jail placement.
That sounds great, but is 3 enough? And where will the money come from?
What we deal with the satellite tracking company that we use, they'll send us extras to keep on the shelf as we need them. We just have started out with 3. Mm-hmm. It allows us to set the zones. We do all the zone settings ourselves. We can monitor through our cell phones, through laptop computer. If we have a participant that's on house arrest, we set the inclusion zones for the perimeter of their house. If they leave their driveway, it notifies us and sets off an alarm. And Instead of the company setting those parameters, we're able to do those individually on each one of our participants. In the same manner, if something were to happen after hours and we were not able to access the company, say the GPS got cut off or got lost, we can access the company. They have 24-hour service as well. They can give us GPS monitor, tell us exactly where it's at. They can give us customer service to the staff to be able to also monitor our units at any time during the day.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
While you're here, Amy, will you explain what the SAMHSA grant, what actually that's going to be used for?
Yes, what it is we, I'm sure most of you by now have heard of the Regional Recovery Court with Morgan County. What that is it's a recovery court much like our own, only it's a much more hands-on. The gentlemen, it's only for males, and the gentlemen that go to this court, they may have been in our program and may be struggling to follow the rules or being able to live in the community. They'll go to the Morgan County Regional Recovery Court where they stay for a minimum of 9 to 12 months. While they're at this program, they are on site. They cannot leave. They're cut off from all contact with their family for up to 6 months. They don't work. They don't hold down jobs. They're simply there for the basis of recovery. They get 12-step meetings. They get job skill training. They get life skills training. They get everything they need right there in-house, and it's residential. They can't leave. Once they successfully complete that program, they return to our program in phase 3 of our program, and then we continue monitoring them through phase 3 and 4 and for a year of aftercare. The purpose of this SAMHSA grant, our state office actually applied for this grant and was granted the SAMHSA grant, and they give money to 6 counties. We're one of the 6 counties that receives funding from this grant from the state level. And what it is the gentlemen that return to our program, this is money to help offset our cost in providing the services that our program already provides to everyone else. So it's kind of a supplemental income to help us keep those gentlemen where they need to be on their recovery once they return to our recovery court.
So even though this does say it's an increase, it's not actually an increase out of the county budget. This is an increase going into your budget through that, the state program.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
why is the appropriation being made to office supplies? Is there a better descriptor we can use since this is actually money flowing to Morgan County? Or
What it is the money that they send to us off of this grant, there's detailed things like case management, treatment, but basically they're sending them back to us and they're just helping us offset the cost of what we do for every other participant on a daily basis. And so we have the list that I think what you're looking at is the...
looking at the budget amendment request, the appropriation is to account 500,435,00128 office supplies.
If you look at it,
Is it on the GPS or is it on the grant?
no, this is on the grant. We're still,
That's the
we're on the
original
same,
motion.
yeah. This is the original motion, and it says that this money is from other federal and state
Right.
programs, and you are transferring it into your line item that is office supplies.
Through office supplies, we buy our curriculum, all of our, I mean, everything that we do in our program, every line item of our budget goes to the needs of the participants in our program. And so when we are providing those services, this money is sent just to help us offset what we're already doing for these gentlemen. It's not a grant that we didn't apply for this grant. This is money that the state is sending us just to help offset the additional people that we're taking into our program to continue their recovery efforts while they're here. And I think when we were setting up the line item, this is one of those things that we were trying to, because it was money that just was sent to us, figure out the appropriate way to put that money into our budgets. Am I correct on that, Angeli?
Yes.
Or Randy?
She won't know exactly what accounts need to be budgeted for. There will be a significant amount of the expenses that will come out of operating supplies. but as the costs arise, we're reimbursed, so we incur the
Yes.
costs first. So we'll put it all in office supplies budgetarily, and then if there's something else that needs to be charged to another account, that's where it'll get charged. We'll just file for reimbursement under that account and transfer the money out of this.
Mr. Chairman, I thought I heard earlier, though, that some of this money's going to reimburse Morgan County.
No, this does not go to Morgan County.
No, no, no.
This is for the
Okay.
people that we have
No.
put in Morgan County
Morgan
that are
County.
now coming
Yes.
back to our, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I might have said that incorrectly. I apologize.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I think I understand Amy to say that it's just for the male inmates, there's no grant opportunities for female inmates at this time?
Right now, there's not a regional recovery court for females. They only have the one, and it is in Morgan County. I think at a state level, they're wanting to open one of these for women, but right now, there's only one, and it is only for males. So that's why only our male participants or male inmates qualify for this program, because it's the only one that there is in the state.
Okay, thank you.
But Amy, when this money comes back into your budget, it is used for all the people that are in your recovery court. You don't have to specifically earmark that this 20,000 is only used for the males in recovery court in Blount County.
It would be impossible for
It
us
would-
to
it would
do
be
that,
for
yes.
It's for
Because-
everyone in the recovery court.
Yes, because when we order, I mean, we don't order curriculum on a case-by-case basis. We order everything we do groups, we do group settings. We have individual counseling, but that's really the only thing in our program that is done on a individual one-on-one basis. Our entire program is based on a group setting, and the state knows that. Most recovery courts are set up that way.
Is there any other questions? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole. Hannum. Lewis. Mitchell.
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
E1C, now we're talking about the monitoring devices. Do I hear a motion to send this on?
Someone,
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Amy, don't get comfortable. Come on. I think Commissioner Lewis has a question.
I do.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Amy, you said we currently are utilizing 3 of these devices?
Mm-hmm.
How many could we, I mean, do we pay for those, or do we send those and then pay for them as the fees are imposed, or tell me how
No,
that works?
the company is, they work with us as far as, like right now, we have the 3, and we have all 3 of those being used. We can access, I mean, we call them, they can have it sent to us. We usually get them the next day when we need more. It is brand new for us. We have just now started GPS monitoring. We used to do GPS monitoring through community corrections. Since we work with them and a lot of our participants are on community corrections, that's where we did that through. But we found that when we hired Brian Hensley as our case manager, he's who did the GPS monitoring with community corrections. He's well versed in it. He understands it. He's teaching the rest of our staff how to do it. It's a lot simpler for us to do the monitoring ourselves. We get the information directly instead of it going to their probation officer and then coming to us. So we're able to be the front line to know if they're where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do. It's not something that's necessary for all of our participants because the majority of the participants are in compliance. It's not really ideal for every participant. Some participants, their sanction needs to be a temporary jail sanction, or it needs to be a placement sanction. But for those that just are having a hard time being where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do, it's a good way to get them in compliance because they know we see what they're doing. Pretty much, we know where they're at. We know if they're where they're supposed to be. And that comes through the judge as well, because everything is through the court as well. The court also has a hand in who Judge Harrington wants on GPS monitoring, who she feels it would be effective for as well. I don't think we would probably at any time need more than 4 or 5 at the most. I mean, we typically have never, even when it was done through community corrections, had that many on GPS monitoring at a time. Of course, as we grow, that need may become larger, and as it does, then the company will work with us. But we're getting reimbursed for that and kind of turning the cost around. It cost us, I think it was I don't have it memorized. The charge is $3.10 a day to the company. We charge them $5 a day. So, you know, we're charging enough to where if we have to get extra straps, which the company provides that, they don't charge us a setup fee. Like when we initially put someone on GPS, they don't charge us a setup fee every time we set someone up. Satellite tracking has been very good to work with and send us what we need when we need it, and we send them the bill for the ones that are being monitored each month.
Is this a
Or they
viable?
send us the bill.
Is this kind of a viable alternative to having people in jail?
It is in our program, I mean, because that's not the only level of supervision these people are getting. This is just an added measure for those people who are not in compliance with the rules that we have already.
What kind of is do we have a capacity as far as how many we could utilize if we had them? What's our limitations for this program, I guess, from a volume standpoint?
Right now we have right at 70. I think 70, today was the start date, and we added 4 people today. So I think as of today, we have 79 in our program. That is with 2 case managers what we do with our case managers is we take every participant and we assign them to one of the 2 case managers. So we already have both of our case managers with excessive caseloads. I mean, technically you want between 30 and 32 per case manager. But we take into account that some of our participants are in placements, they're in residential placements, so that kind of helps offset that burden. We have 2 treatment specialists. They do all of our individual treatment, they do all of our therapy groups, they do all of our couples sessions and counseling sessions, and so their schedules are maxed out at this current time. We are trying to grow the program, and it's not hard to do. There's plenty of people currently incarcerated that would definitely qualify for the program. The limitations come in because in order to know which ones actually qualify, they have to be assessed, and you have to get the referral, and that also comes from our treatment people, so that also takes more time out of their schedule from what they're already doing. Realistically, with more staff, we could easily take, on more people from the jail to put into the program. But without the staff to actually be able to do the assessments and stuff, it's hard to give you a hard number as to how many more we could actually be serving.
Well, but basically at 30 to 32 per case manager, you could kind of take that number and start talking about
Yeah.
how many. Okay, great, thank you.
Amy,
Go ahead.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
If the probationers fail to pay their fines and their costs, how would that impact your budget, your cost?
The way you mean for the GPS, they have to pay that weekly. We don't let that get out of control. We have them pay for their GPS on a weekly basis. That makes it more affordable for them. Unfortunately, the people in our program aren't used to doing a budget that takes them out months at a time. So if we tell them you have $25 due by Friday, that's numbers they can work with. And so on the GPS monitoring, we have them pay that on a weekly basis. And if they are not paying, then they know that come Wednesday when court meets, they have to explain to the judge and myself why they're not paying their GPS fees. And they know that the alternative to not paying it, if they get behind, would be that they have to go into custody.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't rolled up into the rest of their fines.
Oh, no, it is completely separate. That's why we've brought this to you all with the revenue lines and stuff, because that's how we're tracking that separate. It's actually the first time we have actually taken money out of in our office for any services, because usually all of ours go through the clerks through fines and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Any other statements? or questions? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote. Thank you, Amy.
Cole? Yes. Hannum?
Yes.
Lewis? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item E1D, General County, Blount County Sheriff's Office, $250,000 to cover shortages in the food appropriations. Do I have a motion to send this on?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Now, do we have any discussion or questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have one question, and that question is this amount just to augment for the rest of this budget year, or will it be part of the budget request coming forward?
Jeff?
Based on current trends with the facility, this should get us through till June 30th with this. And of course, as we have in years past, we will ask for an increase in this line item for food, but the last few years we weren't able to do that. But this would be just to increase it until June 30th.
And this increase is just to cover the volume of inmates coming through the facilities right now and not
Correct, just to
necessarily
feed what's there.
Okay, and it's not addressing any additional food costs or projections at this time?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Commissioner?
Mr. Chairman, revenue to exceed budget. The revenue coming in, the revenue stream we were looking at would go to the general fund if it wasn't used for a function at the jail, i.e. food. Is that correct?
Is that correct, Jaron?
Well, all this revenue source comes into the general fund. What they're telling you is that and what the request is, that is coming in at a rate higher than was budgeted, and we need to address this appropriation, and the recommendation is that we recognize that we're going to have more revenue, and now we have a legitimate expense.
Did that answer your question? Is there any other questions? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole? Yes. Hannum?
Yes.
Lewis? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item E1E, also with the Sheriff's Department, $171,451.56. GHSO grant awarded to cover associated overtime. Do I hear a motion to send this on?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussions on this grant? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole? Yes. Hannum?
Yes.
Lewis? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item E1F, General County Public Safety Projects, $17,476. It's a JAG grant to cover the radios. Do I hear a motion to send this on? Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I hear any questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole? Yes. Hannum?
Yes.
Lewis? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item E1G, also with the Sheriff's Department, $19,712 school guard reimbursement. Do you hear a motion to send this on?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion to send it on. Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. I'll ask for any questions or discussion. Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Cole? Hannum?
Yes.
Lewis? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Item E1H, General County Preservation of Records, $7,000 for Archives Grant Award for shelving. Do I hear a motion to send this on? Have a motion to send it on. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing no questions, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole. Hannum.
Yes.
Lewis. Mitchell.
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item E1I, General County Preservation of Records, $1,900 for Programming Grant Award for Archival Supplies. Do I hear a motion to send this on?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. I'll now ask if there's any discussion or questions. Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole. Hannum.
Yes.
Lewis. Mitchell.
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'd also like to say that if any of the commissioners have not had a chance to go and see our new archive storage at the Operations Center, Jackie has done a wonderful job of finally creating a space that has enough room for the many millions of records that we have and we keep daily in this county. And I just think that she's to be commended for overseeing this project. And Jackie, thank you. You've done a great job. Item E1J, Highway Department, Highway Bridge Maintenance, $126,398.38, part of the CSX reimbursement. Do I hear a motion to send this on?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or any discussion on this? Commissioner?
Thank you. I just have a question. How the CSX reimbursement, how we're tying this to the highway and bridge maintenance? Because my understanding was most of that reimbursement was for services or whatever we provided during that operation. But is there any additional information?
Julie, would you like to come up and talk about that? I think part of what the Highway Department did, their involvement with CSX was to restructure the intersection down there and to do quite a bit of the road work that was messed up, but I'll
Well,
let you.
Ed, you did a great job.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Julie.
I really don't have anything more to add to that.
Yeah.
That's really the answer.
That was your all's involvement, was that total intersection and the road down there, correct?
That's my understanding. Is that correct, boss?
Okay. I'm sorry, Chico, I didn't mean to take all your all's thunder there,
No,
but.
sir. No, sir.
Okay.
There was significant damage due to the cleanup efforts, so we went in and paved Old Mount Tabor, had to do quite a bit of stabilization on the shoulders, replaced some tiles, and did a substantial amount of work there. And at the intersection, around the tracks themselves there, so that's what that's for, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Chico, did that cover everything that y'all had to do?
That is correct, sir.
Okay,
Covered everything.
all right.
Any other questions?
No, that's fine. I think CSX was more than fair with us on everything that we
Almost
asked of them.
definitely. Yes, sir.
Did you not? Thank you.
They were
Thank
very
you.
hospitable and very.
Sorry, I didn't see you, Chico. I didn't see you sitting there. I saw Julie.
You're just trying to make me nervous.
No,
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion or questions? I'll ask for roll call vote, please.
Cole. Yes. Hannum.
Yes.
Lewis. Yes. Mitchell.
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank y'all. Sorry about that. I didn't. Item F, these are for discussion and possible actions. Emergency management, that's for information only. Budget amendment form, we updated, adding categories to alleviate some confusion. Finance report, that's information only. I'll now ask if there's any input.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We want to go ahead and take action and approve the budget amendment form and send that up. Do we need to take any action on that?
I don't know that you have to amend the form. What I'm trying to do is come up with solutions that more clearly spell out what it is that this body's action is, as well as the commission. So what we were contemplating is adding another couple of descriptions there, increases that are due to reappropriations and increases that are due to grants or other flow-through funds that we get either from the federal government or some other third party. You've seen examples of those tonight. The CSX is a prime example of a reimbursement, but we have to increase the budget to be able to receive the money. Grants in general, by definition, it's money we weren't counting on, so you're technically increasing. But I think it would more clearly spell out what we're doing and maybe help commissioners, as you all vote, at a committee level and at the full commission level.
I agree with Commissioner Moon. I'd like to see it come out of this committee.
Okay?
So I'll move that we accept the recommendations set forth. I'd like to also request that possibly in the future, if it's an increase, circle increase, or it's increase/decrease on the same line, boxes checked. And I've had some confusion from time to time whether it was an increase or a decrease.
Okay, so would you want us to just, as we've described it tonight, bring it to you next month, or you want to approve it tonight and then that's what you'll see going forward?
I move that we go ahead and take action tonight and approve.
On those changes?
This change.
Okay.
Commissioner,
Make that motion.
okay, make the motion to make those changes. Do I hear a second on the motion? Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the changes? Okay, I'll now ask for a voice vote on the changes per the amendment of Commissioner Moon. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now I guess we do the motion on whether we're going to send this on with a recommendation. Do I have a motion to send this on to commission with a recommendation?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion. Second. Have a second. Now then, any questions or discussion? Commissioner Lewis, do you have anything? Okay. With that being said, I'll ask for a roll call vote on that, please.
Cole. Yes. Hannum. Yes. Lewis. Yes. Mitchell.
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. I now ask if there's any input on items that were not on the agenda tonight. Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I do have a question, but it's not on the.
Okay.
It's about an item, it's about the grant forms that we're looking at now. Is this a different format than what we're used to seeing on the grant request contracts? Is this in?
Are you talking about the one on page 32?
I'm looking at the
Emergency Management Grant info only?
page 17 is the one I'm looking at the moment.
That's just what we get once the grants awarded.
What's on page 17 is a typical grant award.
Okay, so it's not the application, that's the award itself. So we'll still continue to see the applications as to where they're matching or not. Okay, never mind.
But
That's-
this one did not, this one was matching in kind, correct?
Yes.
The one on page 32 is yes.
Okay, all right. It's an in-kind grant, okay. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.